Welcome back. Now, guys, if you have not yet checked out the intro that I did last week, you need to go back and do so because I want to fire you up and get you excited and ready to really get into this podcast. Now, today we're going to be introducing Within Reach on a bit of a different level, and I am so excited for this. We have the incredible Anthony and Krystal, my co-hosts, and also other coaches at Within Reach, who will be here to talk about their journeys, their story. But before we get into that, I would actually love to start with the introduction of Within Reach on a deeper level, because for those of you who have been following along on my journey throughout my fitness career, you probably know all of this already, but there's probably so many of you that don't. Now, I'm going to take it right back to the beginning. I think that is the perfect place to kick off the podcast. And we're going to start with why I got into the fitness industry. And this is going to help you identify and understand a little bit more about why you should keep listening as we release episodes every single week. Now, the fitness industry is a space that allows people to thrive, allows people to grow, and allows people to create change long term. Growing up for myself, I always felt like I wanted to do more and provide for those around me. And I really didn't know how to do that. And when I stopped dancing, because I danced my whole life, I was looking for that void to fill. And I thought, what an incredible way to work in an industry that's going to allow me to change people's lives. So I found fitness, I found the love for the gym, and I did my coaching course. Now, like most coaches, like many coaches, when you first start off, you do start off in a face-to-face environment. And I loved the many years that I spent doing so. I've worked with hundreds of different personalities of people, and the ability to just impact them on a daily basis really fills my heart up and lights my soul on fire. But the thing that I noticed was that, unfortunately, in a face-to-face environment, I don't personally believe that you can give people everything that they need. If you pay for a 45-minute PT session, that's all you get until the next time you come in for another PT session. So we moved the business online, we rebranded, we became Within Reach, which is now an online health, fitness, and mindset space. And with the online health, fitness, and mindset space, we are now working really hard to bridge the gap between fitness and mindset. And we're working with our clients where they get constant access to their coaches for all things fitness, nutrition, and mindset ongoing. So that's a little bit about Within Reach. It's a little bit about what we do. It's a little bit about what to expect. And I'm sure throughout the podcast, you will start to learn more about my journey. However, today is not about me. Today is about you guys. And it's also about the incredible people I have on my right and my left. So I want to introduce you to Anthony and Krystal. Welcome. Hello, hello. How was that intro?
That was
Beautiful.
great.
Didn't do
You
too bad.
smashed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Anthony, I actually want to start with you because for those who don't know, Anthony has been at Within Reach for 9 months now, and we actually went to primary school together.
Yes, fun little fact of how Steph and I met. So all the way back in Madawi, the primary school days.
I know, and many, many years ago. And the funny thing was, Anthony and I didn't really know each other then. We just kind of knew that we went to the same school and, little 10-year-olds running around. But it was so fantastic because what actually happened is when I was rebranding and when I decided I have this incredible vision for Within Reach, we stumbled across each other in the gym, actually.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, what are you doing these days? And you went, I'm a coach. And I straight away knew I wanted you. That is not anything. Don't read into it. Don't read into it. But Ant, I love working with you. I love having you on the team. And what I'd love to do is get you to really introduce yourself because a lot of people don't know your story. They don't know you or who you are. So yeah, who are you? Why do you do what you do? And what is it specifically that you do?
Definitely, yeah. Likewise, love working with you too. And it's a pleasure to be here today for sure. More about me and what I do in the fitness space and the mindset space is around the deeper layered stuff. Like for myself growing up, I was an athlete. I played rugby league for 17 years of my life. And that really led me into how to better look after my body, how to better understand what's happening in the body. And a lot to do with football for me had a lot to do with my mindset as well. If I sort of went out there seeing, the big 100 kilo blokes and being like, oh, I don't want to tackle them today, then that's what would happen. I wouldn't tackle them. So going out there fresh every day, being like, cool, I can do this, I can show up. That's what it really led to for me. And I guess moving forward out of out of rugby league, once I started looking at life and how mindset and physical fitness affects life, I found that it has a lot to do with everything. So, um, going back a couple of years now, diving a little bit deeper into my story, is I was actually waking up every day unfulfilled, unhappy with life, and not actually really knowing what my purpose was here. Coming out of football, where I suffered from a concussion, which was pretty bad. So I decided to quit. I didn't actually know what to do with myself. I was here and there and sort of just unfulfilled. So that process of really finding out what I enjoyed and what I loved, like felt passionate about, was a big step.
Mm. That's so interesting to hear because I actually didn't know that. I didn't know about the concussion. I knew about the football, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize that that's actually where it all started. I would love to ask, what do you think prompted you to finally realize that your mindset was the thing holding you back when it came to football and then moving, I guess, throughout your life as well to get you to where you are now? Because for those who don't know, Anthony is a mindset coach and as well as a fitness coach. So I'd love to kind of know when you figured out that there was a correlation between the two.
Definitely. The correlation would have been really a day where I was down in the dumps. And I know that some people may be able to resonate with this or have had a similar experience in their life, where life just felt like shit. And sometimes, when I was in that place, I really had to be like, well, what am I striving for here? What am I actually doing? And the correlation between the physical side of things and the mental side of things is like, okay, at that time when I was down in the dumps, was I eating healthy? Was I training? Was I actually prioritizing my mindset? Was I learning, educating myself how to be better every day? And the answer was no. So for me, really seeing the correlation of if I do these things, then I can be better. And it's not going to exactly happen overnight, but knowing that 2 weeks I'm going to feel better than I did on that day, then I'm going to be feeling better.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, that's great. It's really good to hear because like we know each other so well,
mm,
but to not actually hear your story from that point of view, it does really open up my eyes to understanding exactly how you are where you are now.
yeah,
So just for the listeners and for the viewers, I'd love for you to now kind of go into what happened from that moment, like when you realized that that was the case and when you decided to start working on self, when you realized that there was maybe a purpose for you. What was that purpose and what did you do about it?
definitely. Yeah. So, um, it's, yeah, very coincidental. I do believe in like the law of attraction and those types of things. So for me, my wonderful partner Claudia actually did a course NLP, and that really opened my mind up to how the unconscious and the conscious mind work together. And for those that don't know much about that, our unconscious mind takes up about 90 to 95% of our brain capacity, and our conscious mind is only 5. So just to think of that, like our unconscious mind beats our heart, fills our lungs with oxygen, that sort of thing. So um, once finding, I guess, NLP and realizing that, it really opened my mind even more. So I guess this is where I really started to feel the passion and the drive that there isn't education around this. There isn't stuff that openly expresses to everyone or educates everyone on this topic. And for me, remembering where I was back in the dumps, I was like, wow, if I had have known that then, I could have changed my life back then. And I've gone through the years of work to get to where I was. And I was like, wow, okay, now I get to go deeper and I get to have a better life because I've learned more. So I think that's where I was, I think, since doing NLP and then also actually going back, I did my personal training course just before COVID and I felt so fulfilled doing that. So that was actually about 3 months after the dump of being like, cool, how can I actually make myself better? So educating my mindset, educating my physical of how to train better, how to fuel myself more efficiently, how to actually present myself better, even as an aesthetic look or my goal at that time. I would say that doing my PT course definitely educated me on my physical, and I think that's where I felt the mental lack to be like, okay, now what's holding me back? And from that, I then 6 months down the track after COVID, after everything had happened, I did NLP course, which then integrating the physical and the mindset has really helped me. And then that's where I went, okay, now I get to service the people to make their lives better because I have the tools and why would I not?
Yeah. And that's, you brought up so many good points there as well. Like something that you said was that, you know, you now have the tools, right? And this is actually really interesting because I do find, and this is what you guys are all going to know more about as we go through these podcast episodes, but that is the missing key link, isn't it? Is that if you have the physical without the mindset, or the mindset without the physical, they both go hand in hand. So being able to then provide a service to somebody where you have the access to provide both, it changes the game.
It sure does, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do now? What is it that you do now, and what are the services that you offer now?
Of course, yeah. So I'm a holistic growth coach, and what that means is blending the physical and the mindset together because they both are so important. And through my experience, because I can only speak on my experience, is once actually blending those together, the growth is exponential. Like the there is no limit on what you can achieve. And when we look deeper into limiting beliefs and self-worth, it's endless, like the possibilities. So I offer tailored programs, one-on-one services to you guys, to the listeners, all around mindset and physical health, getting you to your goals, and of course, having lots of fun along the way. So we dive deeper into mindset and into those limiting beliefs, and we also work on the physical because that's also important. Educating you every step along the way so that ensuring long term you can make those habits and create the healthy, sustainable life that you want to live.
I love it. I love that. That was really, really good. It's very insightful. And I think for a lot of people listening, not understanding the difference between the two, it can be really challenging to even grasp the concept. But as you've explained really well, and it is very much, it goes hand in hand and they're interlinked. And having somebody in the industry that can offer that, game changer. I know I already said that, but I think you did a really good job at kind of explaining what that's like and how you got there. So it's funny, I think a lot of the time people fall into the things that they do, and usually they have the best stories behind it. So it's great that there was two paths you could have chosen when you were at your lowest, and you chose the one that got you to where you are today.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now I'm going to turn the tables and we're going to introduce our other co-host and another coach at Within Reach. This is Krystal. Now, Krystal and I actually met through Anthony. Bit of a funny story on this one. So Anthony was having an event and we both came, and Krystal had followed me and I didn't know. Sorry. And yeah, we met at this event, and then I think a week later, because I got a really good vibe from you in the beginning. The second that I'd met you, I thought, oh my gosh, I need you. You're exactly who I
Yeah.
need. And I was looking at expanding the team at the time, and I thought, what a great person. You just came across, and you come across so vibrant and so, it's almost like the soft part of me that I don't have. I
Aw.
felt, yeah, because anyone who knows me knows that I can be very like straight down the line to the point, but these guys mellow me out. It's nice. But yeah, so we went for a coffee and a walk, and we had a chat. And it was really lovely to get to know you. And now you've been working at Within Reach since, I think, September last
Yeah,
year.
yep.
Yeah.
So what's that? Four months?
Mm, 5 months.
Yeah.
Nearly coming up to the 6 month mark now.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
not fast, yeah.
I didn't actually realize that.
Mm.
But for those, again, listeners that don't know you, or people who want to get to know you more, same thing. I'd love to kind of introduce you, get you to speak on who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about, and what has led you to where you are now.
So I grew up in the Hawkesbury, which is like 2.5 hours away from here, on the river, country town vibe, where there's not a lot happening. The main things was just going to get drunk over weekend. And I did that quite a bit. I went traveling in Europe for 4 months. And then when I came back, I could feel myself slipping into a lazy mindset. And I knew I had to get myself out of that. So I'd booked myself in for my first half marathon. And
Just to clarify, was this just straight off the bat? You went, yeah, I'm going to do it?
Yep. I think I gave myself like 12 weeks, and I learned a lot of things the hard way because I didn't get a coach. I was just doing HIIT training and running. And as a young girl, I was concerned with body image. I would try every fad diet. So I think I was trying to avoid carbs while training for a half marathon. Dumb.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I just like get all these little injuries, or on my actual half marathon day, had no idea how to pace myself. Like I did not know what I was in for. But then once I finished, that feeling of accomplishment was like so worth it. But at the same time, I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Oh, okay. It's funny because you did do it again.
Yeah. And then, because I'd say I've been a bit of a jack of all trades. Like I've tried, like, yeah, I've done like strength and hypertrophy work. I've done CrossFit. I've done jujitsu. I'll try any hobby. Like I like snowboarding, surfing, like rock climbing. I'm not great at much, but I'll give it a go. But the thing I keep coming back to is endurance training, like especially like, yeah, I've done about 5 half marathons now, and my first full marathon last year, which was awesome. And yeah, throughout that journey, I've found the connection between my body and my mind, and like pushing myself physically, and then that like strengthening my mindset. And as you said, Spads, like it just transforms it like every other aspect of life. And I just found that like it gave me healthier habits with my sleep, my nutrition, how to fuel myself correctly, how to train like specifically for performance, and like getting myself like coaches as well. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And I moved to Newcastle about like 4 years ago now. It was like 4 years ago in January. So as I said, in like the Hawkesbury, like I didn't have many like-minded people around. And like I remember seeing this quote, you create your own reality, which to me is what this little symbol means that I've taught you guys that. I remember finding it on Pinterest once when I was 16. I was like, yes, I'm getting a tattoo, little white girl of me.
I love it.
Yeah. And yeah, so like I looked at that, like you create your own reality, but I looked around me at the time and I was like, I don't envy anybody's lives around me. And so, yeah, I moved to Newcastle, and I moved into an amazing share house, and who I'm still friends with today, even though we're not living in that share house anymore. And one of them was friends with Spads, and I'd see her go for runs with Spads, and I'd like look at what you're about. I'm like, I like his energy. And I knew I wanted to find more like-minded people. And so I said to Hannah one day, like, can you make me friends with Spads? Like we went for a run together. And that was probably like a couple of weeks before your event, where then met you, Steph.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys didn't actually know each other for that long prior.
No. Yeah, we went for like one run, and like I saw your little run club, so I'd like come to the run clubs. I only went to a couple before your event. And then, yeah, it was like fully out of my comfort zone to go to your event not knowing anyone, but I just knew like, yeah, these are the kind of people that I want to be around. And so, yeah, I remember seeing you, Steph, and I saw like the Within Reach. I'm like, I'd love to be a part of their team.
That is so bizarre. And like, I know that all three of us here agree that like everything happens for a reason. That's a belief that we have. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
this is completely like, oh crap.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to swear. Oh fuck. I'm like, do we swear on this podcast? Do we not? Everything happens for a reason. So so you actually had that thought before I kind of brought it up.
Yeah, because like I started my own little Instagram page in like February last year. I guess another thing about me is that I'm still working another job, but I wasn't fully fulfilled by that. And so I did my coaching, like my Cert 4 in fitness, in lockdown too. Another fun fact, I moved to Newcastle. I went into uni for biomedical science. So I did 6 months of that, but it was lockdown and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life, but I knew I was passionate about health and fitness. So I was like, all right, do my Cert 4, worked in the gym, got my diploma of nutrition. And then, yeah, I was only working in the gym for about 6 months or so before I then got approached for another job. Yeah, so then I started my own Instagram page. Yeah, for like February last year. But I had no structure, no plan. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, all I know is I want to like help people. Yeah, when I saw like your app and yes, I was like, it'd be really awesome to become part of that. But when we met up for coffee, I just thought, I was going to get some like business tips. But straight away you were like, yeah, you want to come part of the team. And it was so crazy, like how we know so many of the same people.
Yeah. Side note, so those who don't know, I also grew up in the Hawkesbury, but I moved away in like 2010. So I was not even in high school yet. So we just somehow, and then Lauren, shout out to Momentum Health and Fitness or Momentum Coaching. So Lauren and I actually had met because I was working at an Anytime Fitness that she was working at.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is actually crazy that we know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, like Lauren is one of my good friends. Yep. Shout out to her.
I hope she doesn't mind. I think she'd love it.
Oh, she'd love it. Yeah, she's got a podcast launching soon too.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Cool. Yes. That's awesome. Yeah. So learning. I can't believe that we have worked for so long together and I didn't know half of these things. I'm really excited about what else I'm going to learn along the way.
I think we are going to learn lots.
Yeah. So I do have some questions for you guys and I'll chime in here as well too. So we've kind of discussed and discovered like your stories, your journeys, and also how you ended up where you are now. But kind of where I would love to go next is just understanding a bit more about your opinions and your thoughts on things that you are noticing are happening in the industry at the moment. Just so that, again, the listeners can start to understand more about not only what we do, but what they need to look out for when it comes to starting a journey. Because it's great for us to sit here and say, this is what we do and this is our story. But how is it that coaching is actually helpful to people?
Definitely. And I actually love that question because this was something that I actually found at the start of my journey as well was I'd say the biggest thing is like the one program fits all. It's like that coach or that in particular person that has this program and that's all it is just a program and they're selling it by itself and they're sort of expecting results from you. And I just want everyone to know that that isn't the case. It may work for 5 to 10% of you. The other 90 to 95%, it's not going to give you any results at all. I think the biggest thing that for me is like education. And I think it's also relates to everything that we do. Like we are really big on education as to like, we want you to come to us to learn. And long term, we actually want to be able to get you out of coaching so that you can continue your journey by yourself. And I would say that, yeah, just be aware of those people that are, the dieting tools that they use, or just the one program fits all sort of stuff.
That's a really, really good point. And with that, you know, understanding that what you get out of coaching is dependent on not only where you go, so do your research, but also, you know, who you are as a person and what you're willing to do to get to the goal. So I think it's apparent, and something that you will learn while working with us or while listening to us and being part of our journey is you will understand that, you know, a coach can only meet you where you want to be met. And I say that all the time because I've had personally, and these guys have too, but I've had so many incredible results from clients, but I'm still not getting results for everybody. And that doesn't mean that I'm not a good coach. It doesn't mean I don't know my shit. It means that there has to be a correlation between a couple of things. Number one, the coach wanting to work with the client and give them the best, the client wanting to work with the coach and give them the best. So again, meet you where you want to be met. But then also making sure that you're in a position to align yourself with that person. Because as you kind of said, Ant, like not every program you do is going to get you what you want or what you need. And I think with that point, it's really important to also identify and understand that, you know, everybody's different, and you need to gravitate towards the people that are going to be in your corner, but that you can gel with. Because not, you know, we'd be silly to sit here and say that we're the best coach for everyone. We're not, because some people won't, I guess, click with the way that we do things, but that's also okay. So it's also about knowing that when you are looking for a coach, or when you're looking for a teammate, or when you're looking for a client, so this goes out to coaches as well, just being able to connect with the person on a deeper level than just here's a program, and being able to give them what they actually need. So with that, Krystal, what do you think allows a client to get success when they're actually in coaching in a one-on-one space compared to being in a space, like Anthony said, where it's just a one size fits all?
Because every person is so individual and so different. And like, as you said, we're not going to be suited for everybody. It's like, there was one thing about, even for me becoming a coach, it's like, oh, like the industry's so saturated, but people are going to come to you for you, and everyone's going to connect with someone different. And so I think the difference between someone, getting to their goals and not, is having that person that understands and knows what it is holding them back. So, and coming from a holistic approach, for especially like mindset and healthy habits and nutrition, and not just going to the gym, doing a session and leaving, because that's not health as a whole. It's not just going to the gym, it's everything else. I know from myself, I tried all the online programs, like the free ones, or some apps that are just generic, and it like wouldn't work for me, especially like with running ones. So I found getting a coach, like I've learned so much, and then doing my own research and then like my own experimenting. So I think for anybody starting out that has a goal, I'd say to like find someone that you connect with, and then breaking down your goal into like daily habits that you can tick off each day.
So then what do you both think stops people from getting coaching? Because what I've noticed throughout my years in this industry is, you know, you can tell people over and over and over again that like the reason you're not getting to your goals is because you actually do need a coach. And we're not saying that because that's what we do. We're saying that because we can see and identify from the outside in what is going wrong and right in your journey. But what do you think stops people from actually investing in and getting a coach in the first place?
I think it does have a lot to do with, I guess, understanding what a coach really does as well. Like for me in particular, I went sort of the long way around it. So at the time when I was down in the dumps, I also wasn't financially stable to invest into a coach. So at that time, I said, okay, well, how can I make this work? And what took me 3 to 4 years, if I had have saved for a month and said, okay, I'm ready to invest into a coach, rather than drinking or doing things on the weekend, stuff like that. If I'd have just saved for that month and said, okay, I'm now ready to invest into a coach, I would have saved that extra 2 to 3 years, and been able to reach my goals quicker and educate myself in a lot shorter period of time.
Yeah. And I think as well, what you need to remember is that, as I said before, the reason that coaching is such a great tool for you to have, regardless of where you're at in your journey, is because you have somebody on the outside looking in and seeing the cracks. Because when we're in our own world, in our own head, as and I and even Krystal were talking about before, you know, fitness and mindset do go hand in hand. They correlate directly with each other. So if you're acting on your emotion, your emotional state, and most of the time, to be honest, that's the reason that people don't follow through or get to their goals. Or if you're not 100% educated on what you need to do and you're doing the wrong things, because you can actually do the wrong things, which is detrimental to your goals, then you're going to be going round and round in circles, doing so much work. And sometimes it can actually be for nothing. And I know that some of you don't want to hear that, but it is very true. And the great thing about coaching is, like, coaching is not a forever thing unless you want it to be. You know, at Within Reach, we are so blessed to have the most incredible clients. And we have clients on our team that do, you know, a couple of months and then they go out and apply their skills on their own. We have clients that kind of flitter in and out. They go and they come back, and they go and they come back. And we have had clients that are long term that have been with us for, you know, 3 or 4 years now. So it's about knowing that in your journey, at some point, you have to do something different. But we do notice a lot of the time people are so hesitant to get themselves into coaching in the beginning. But I love what you said about people don't know what coaches actually do. So what I'd love to kind of go into is, like, what does a coach do?
I wanted to also touch on before that I think something that holds people back is, like, I know what to do, but they don't actually do it.
I love that. Such a good point.
Yeah, it's like, I've noticed in a couple conversations, like even like family members and stuff, like, yeah, I know what to do. You know, I just got to do it. And I think, I don't know, like maybe them just saying it out loud is enough, like, satisfaction for them to not do it. But I think, yeah, accountability is a big thing. And I'm noticing with my own clients, as you said, that they can get stuck in their own heads. And so having someone to, like, look at it from the outside and see the cracks and give them the tools, as, like, yeah, more holistic approach, and having that support, like having someone in your corner to talk to and get advice from, and have, like, structure in your programming, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, for sure. And so what we do at Within Reach, and what you can expect to see from us as coaches, is that you will get the training, you will get the nutrition, the mindset, you'll get the accountability and the support. And the most important thing, which I am so blessed, grateful, and happy about, is the community. Because this is actually something I was talking about on a podcast that I did with Women's Fitness Academy yesterday. Community lacks in the fitness industry, particularly in the online space. And once again, I used to do face-to-face PT. I used to run community because it was all in person. And the one thing that I said I was going to do when I moved online was keep the community thriving. And we've noticed an incredible amount of change from people in our corner and in our community, because they know they're not alone. And I think coming into a coaching space, you need to look for a space that has that community element, because without it, you can sometimes feel a little bit alone and feel like you're the only person on this journey. But actually, you're not. There's so many other people that are going down the same line as you, and being in a space where you can not only work on your own goals and have that customized approach, but then look to your left and your right and see, you know, hundreds of other people doing exactly the same thing. It's incredible to watch. It's an incredible thing as a coach. So the last thing that I kind of want to speak about and chat to you guys about to wrap this up today as well is I'd love to know what your favorite part about being a coach is.
Let's start with Krystal.
Cool. I do keep going to you. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I don't know why.
My favorite part, I would have to say the check-in time, because that's when I get to see their progress that they're making. And we're in our check-in form where it's like, how do you rate our coaching services, the enjoyment, and like leaving a comment, and seeing their comments just warms my heart, where they're like, your support means everything. Like, I've dropped a kilo this week, and like the community vibe, like when we do events and things like that, like they absolutely love it. Or like I've even met up in person with them and trained for a session, and they just said like how much they loved it and how much it's making a difference to their life. And yeah, so knowing that I'm making a difference in someone else's life just like, yeah, lights me up.
Definitely. And I've got to agree, like the biggest thing is seeing the change is like not in just like their physical side of things, but their energy levels, how they show up, their consistency, the discipline, the work that they're actually willing to do because they know what they're going to get from it is like jumping on an initial call with someone being like, hey, and they're like being like, hey, you know, this is what we do. And they go, wow, that's actually exactly what I need. And they're excited to start their journey. I'm like, that's what pumps me up. And I'm like, let's do it. Like, let's get you there. Like, let's do everything we can in our power, and you do everything you can in your power, and we're going to reach it in no time. So seeing that weekly or fortnightly time where we catch up, we go over the check-in, seeing their results, seeing that they're consistent across the board and their energy levels are through the roof, I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think for myself, again, 100% agree with everything you guys are saying. But to add to that further, I have always loved the ability to give people education and as I said, community. They're two massive things for me. And it's funny, I actually didn't realize until really recently, and we actually had a conversation about this, how important community actually is to me and how much connection actually means to me. So to be able to provide somebody with the support and the help that they need, but to also be able to educate someone and for them to turn around, my favorite thing in the world is when someone goes, I did not know that. I've been doing it all wrong and you've literally changed my life.
Mm.
You cannot
Yeah.
get better than that. That cannot get any better. So I think as a whole, we all agree that changing people's lives is the best thing. Serving the community and being able to help people that sometimes don't even know that they need to be helped. It's a really, really, really cool job. I think probably the best job in the world. Am I right?
I think so.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for today. Thank you for sharing your stories in a bit of a deeper level and for allowing everyone to know more about who you guys are. And I'm so excited for what's to come. And I'm excited for more of these types of chats, but also for more educational chats, more chats on things that you maybe don't know or aren't aware of when it comes to fitness, mindset, and health. And along the way, we're also going to be stirring up the internet a little bit, which I know I'm excited for. I'm not sure about these guys, but stay tuned and you'll start to hear more about our thoughts, our opinions, and what's to come.
I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Right.